But first tonight, remembrances for broadcasting giant Larry King, famous for his straight talk interviews with the world's biggest newsmakers. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandra Bookman. Joe has the night off. Larry King built an iconic career interviewing celebrities, newsmakers, and everyone in between. The Brooklyn-born icon grew a following with his no-frills style and the curiosity he brought to every interview. There were more than 50,000 guests over the course of half a century. His production company posted on Twitter that King always believed his interview subjects were the true stars of his programs. Today, a family member confirmed King passed away at the age of 87. His son tweeted a statement tonight saying, "We are heartbroken over our father's death and together with our extended family mourn his passing. The world knew Larry King as a great broadcaster and interviewer, but to us, he was Dad." Eyewitness News entertainment reporter Sandy Kenyon shows us now how he's being remembered.
He was an American everyman who never forgot his roots in Brooklyn, a storyteller and a stylist, getting the best out of everyone from the President of the United States
You still like this job?
to the chairman of the board.
A good question can open up doors in my mind that I would never think of discussing with anybody.
There were more than 50,000 guests over the course of more than 60 years of interviews.
I think it's an art form, and I don't take much credit for it because I had it when I was a kid. I was born with the gift of curiosity.
King spent his childhood in this house in Brownsville as Larry Zeger, but found fame as Larry King first in Florida in local radio, then nationally.
You've logged more hours on national radio than any other talk show host.
But his breakthrough came in 1985 on CNN.
This is the premiere edition of Larry King Live.
The variety of guests King interviewed was stunning. Politicians, stars, and world leaders. Everyone from Nelson Mandela to Marlon Brando.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
He was known for an easygoing style that favored the guest instead of the interviewer.
If you turn on my show, the guest should be talking 90% of the time. 90%.
And for someone who was famously non-confrontational, King's interviews often made news.
How do you stop that without NAFTA?
He brought an Israeli prime minister together with the chairman of the PLO, covered live news events from the fight in the Gulf to the flight of O.J. Simpson.
Simpson is in the driver's seat. We've received a report of a gun in the car.
Shortly after 9/11, Larry came back to the city to host his show from here.
When it comes to describing what I saw earlier this week at Ground Zero, I really cannot find the right words.
Off-screen, King became notorious for his I-dos, marrying 8 times to 7 different women. His final and longest-lasting marriage to Shaun King. Despite health problems, Larry King persevered until his death at the age of 87.
To you, my audience, thank you. And instead of goodbye, how about so long?
When I was a young broadcaster, I used to study Larry King's style, only to learn, of course, he was so unique, King could never be imitated. He had a way of asking just what everyone wanted to know. Ambition powered him out of Brooklyn, and he never lost that drive. It was with him still when I shared breakfast with Larry a few years back. Fittingly enough, it was in a deli. I'm Sandy Kenyon, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
It is not surprising that tributes for Larry King have been pouring in all day, many expressing condolences and sharing heartfelt messages on social media. Ryan Seacrest tweeted, "I lost a dear friend and mentor, truly an American treasure. Rest in peace, Larry King." Entertainer Rosie Perez also sent out a tweet writing, "Very sad. Brooklyn's own is gone. Loved speaking with him, a legend who will be dearly missed." And Mayor Bill de Blasio shared King was many great things, but first and foremost, he was a scrappy kid from Brooklyn. On behalf of his hometown, I offer our deepest condolences to his family and loved ones. Now, back in 2004, Larry King wrote a book titled "Remember Me When I'm Gone." The rich and famous write their own epitaphs and obituaries. The last page was his. He wrote, "I would like to be remembered as a kid from Brooklyn who probably would have preferred to become a first baseman or a pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers, but who never made it. I am, of course, proudest of my kids and madly in love with my wife, Shawn, but above all, I would like to be remembered as a broadcaster who has perhaps interviewed more people than anyone in history." Stay with Eyewitness News as we look back on the life and career of Larry King. You can find more tributes and condolences at our website, ABC7NY.